Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the coming presidential election and how Joe Biden could actually win. Now, I'm not sure how many people actually care what I have to say about this topic, and the title might even make some people mad because it might sound like I'm saying that Biden is going to win or that I'm rooting for Biden. And actually, I'm not trying to say that I'm rooting for Biden or anything like that, but I've noticed that it's easy for a lot of people, especially who are Trump supporters, to think that, well, of course Trump is going to win. Trump is doing a great job, they would say, and Biden is a horrible candidate, they would say. So how could Trump possibly not win? And Biden has just announced his running mate, Kamala Harris, and so a lot of people think now it's in the bag for Trump. He's got this. There's no way that Biden could win. But what I wanted to say in this video is, hold on a second. I don't think it's that simple. And I think that even some people who are very knowledgeable about politics, and actually probably they would support Trump, would say, no, this is actually a close race. But when I'm online, I can tell you that there is something about Trump that needs to be noted, and that is that a lot of people really hate Trump. They have an animosity against him and really despise him. And an important thing to keep in mind is because of the way that they look at Trump, and it's just amazing, reading just how people, and I understand that people have very strong feelings about politics, but when it comes to Donald Trump, I just see this hatred, this vitriol toward him by many people. And you have to acknowledge that when people feel a certain way about someone, it really shapes the way they look at everything. It's the lens by which they look at the whole world. And that's why you can talk to someone and you wonder, how can they look at things that way? You might look at things and say, well, don't the facts say this? But they look at something and they say, no, it's totally different. And it's because they're looking through a different lens. And so what I'm saying here is that a lot of people are looking at everything through the lens of how they feel about Trump. And what they feel is that things are really bad right now. Now, people might look at the numbers and say, in counter to that, well, aren't a lot of good things happening? Wasn't the economy doing well before the COVID-19 situation? And isn't Trump still doing a lot of good things? But there are some people that, regardless of how you might look at the numbers, the way they feel about things is that they are not good. And that's a really important thing going into this election. How do people feel about how everything is going on? And of course, what's added to the mix and the whole situation is the COVID-19 pandemic and how people feel things are going right now in light of that. So that hatred for Trump that's out there and people feeling like things are worse really leads to a lot of anger. And that's something that I have seen and I have noted, and I think it has to be acknowledged that there is a lot of anger out there. Now, I realize it's on both sides. There are people that are pro-Trump that are really angry too and really suspicious of the other side and hate where the left is going. But you can't ignore that hatred also exists on the left too. And so there is a lot of hatred for Trump and for the direction that he is trying to take the country. And another thing you have to add in here when it comes to how people assess the coming election is a lot of people underestimate Joe Biden. They think there's no way that candidate could win. He's not a very strong candidate at all. But what I'm saying in all this is that there are many people out there who would rather have anyone other than Donald Trump. And that is a way that Biden could win, regardless if you think he's strong at all. And I know a lot of people point out a lot of weaknesses and things that they say, see, Joe Biden, he can't be president. He's not fit to be president. But they are forgetting that people hate Donald Trump enough to vote for anybody other than Donald Trump. And I'm not just saying this because I think it might be true. I've actually watched this happening online, and I'm listening to what people are saying. So there's no doubt that Joe Biden could potentially win this election based on the mood of the country and how many people feel. Ultimately, I would say elections like this come down to who actually goes out and votes. It's really about energy. We can look at elections and tend to think, well, it's really about persuading people to go to one side or the other. But, in reality, if you're thinking about this and you say, is someone really out there saying, should I vote for Trump or should I vote for Biden? I'm not really sure how many people out there are like in the middle. I really think it has more to do with the energy that's behind each campaign. And again, it's easy to say, well, Trump's going to have the energy. I mean, he's someone who's been a leader who's just drawn people to him, and a lot of people are really gung-ho about Trump, and he's had all those rallies and all of that. Biden wouldn't have the energy. What I'm saying is that hatred motivates people. And so if they do hate Donald Trump as much as I'm saying, then I think that will motivate a lot of people to go out and vote. Let me ask this question. Did hatred for Hillary Clinton lead people to go out and vote for Trump? And I think the clear answer to that is yes, that was a factor in the last election. Not only were people behind Trump, and some people, many people were, but a lot of people also went out and voted because they hated Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton's weaknesses also led some people just to say, I'm not going to vote. And I think that there are some people out there that would say, well, I don't really want to vote for Biden, but I'm not really gung-ho about Donald Trump either. And so those people may just not vote. But I'll say it again. Hatred for a certain candidate can stir up a lot of energy for the opposing campaign. And so I think that's really a potential of what could happen here. I'll say one other thing, though, about this that I think obviously is really important, and that's the electoral college. People tend to think in very two-sided terms, and you have these national polls that say, well, here's who's leading in the national poll. But really the election is a game of winning the electoral college, getting to that 270 electoral college votes. And so I don't know actually if Biden could get enough votes in the electoral college, because that's what we're really talking about. It doesn't matter if you have the majority vote, and a lot of people think of it in those terms. It really comes down to who will win the electoral college. Now, could states flip over to Biden because of that underlying hatred and animosity toward Trump? Yeah, I think that could happen. And that's my point. I think people need to realize, I'm not saying Trump won't win, but people need to realize it's not as easy as it looks on the surface because of these underlying factors of what could really drive the energy of this election. Now, I'll put a big caveat on all that and say that I do think Trump could have a lot of energy going for him as well, depending on how things go in the next coming months and how he operates his campaign. I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but in those debates, Trump is going to destroy Biden. Maybe he will. I don't know. But again, I do think hatred for Trump will highly influence a lot of people, and it doesn't even matter what happens in a debate. They just hate Trump, and so they're going to vote the other way. So to me, that's how Biden could win this coming election. I will probably do a video at some point, maybe soon, on Trump. I hope I'm not angering people. I know politics makes people angry, but I just wanted to give some of my thoughts here. I'd like to hear what you think in the comments, but as I always say on my video, please keep comments positive and edifying and helpful to the conversation. I don't like hatred and attacking in the comment section, but I'll try to keep comments open. If it's really not working, I will just close the comment section. But thank you as always for listening to what I have to say from a Frisch Perspective.